Hello, I'm your host Ash Meppers. This is mufcMPB and match day reaction on a day when we've seen another loss for Eric Ten Hag, another loss for Manchester United. This has been 4 losses in our first 7 Premier League games. It's just not good enough. Where do we even start? Well, where you can start today is you can drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, get your opinions in the chat, let us know what you think, anything you might have picked up on in the game, just anything essentially that you feel like you need to get off your chest after what is a terrible result. I can't really say a terrible performance because in that game, to me, it didn't look like a horrendous performance. You look at the stats and you look 80-odd% possession, 19-odd shots. We just, at this moment in time, we can't seem to get the ball in the back of the net. And this has been a problem that we've had now for 12, 18 months. Not being able to score goals. It's not been good enough. And how we resolved that, how we looked at a player like... I was going to say Erling Haaland then. I mean, it would be useful if we could have Erling Haaland, obviously, but, you know, you look at Rasmus Winter Højlund and, you know, he's been asked to lead the line in this Manchester United team, this disjointed Manchester United team, you know, riddled with injuries. Full-backs injured, centre-backs injured, midfielders injured, forwards injured, or just out of action for reasons, you know, not conducive to football. Now, where do we go from here? What you boys think? Stephen says in the chat, hello Stephen, 3 defeats in 5 matches, outmatched today, outwitted by Bayern, outclassed by Brighton. Ten Hag is treading water, in my opinion. Bayern game, you know, to go to the Allianz Arena and score 3 goals, okay, you can say that every time we scored, Bayern switched it up another level, another gear, and went and grabbed a goal themselves. And again, you look at that team, a weakened Manchester United team, and we probably should have been in front in the first instance with that ball across into Pellistri and the tackle on Pellistri by Alphonso Davies, who was looking sheepishly at the referee, probably expecting it to be a penalty, and it probably should have been a penalty, having looked at that a couple of times. But that Bayern result there, it was always going to be tough to go to the Allianz and try and get any kind of result from that. The fact that we scored goals, you know, Casemiro's. I mean, today you look at Casemiro had 2 chances. The one with a header and the shot, I believe. We're just in a situation where we're struggling to put the ball into the back of the net. I was there today at the game. You know, I'm watching. We're looking comfortable. We're looking dominant. And then we concede a needless free kick close to the sideline. Amrabat goes into the back of Ayew. I mean, Ayew, I'm not sure what the ref was doing. Every little bit of contact on Ayew today, and he was going down. And the ref, he bought it. He fell for it. You know, it was every single time anyone touched or was in any kind of vicinity of Ayew today, he went down, and the ref. And okay, you can look and say, well, you shouldn't be looking at performances of the referees. You should be looking at your own performance. And I agree. I agree. We should be looking at our own performance. But it doesn't help when in those situations where we are struggling, we do need a little bit of luck at the moment, and we're just not getting them. Ever since the Onana clattering against Wolves, and the PGMO coming out and, you know, apologising and an entire reffing team being suspended, ever since then, referees have been scared to death to give us anything or to be lenient to us at all. It's all been against us in that regard. So we can't look to that. We've got to go into games expecting the referee's not going to perform for us. You know, he's not going to be, you know, on our side at all. You know, if anything, he'll be on their opponent's side, you know, to a point where even, you know, harsh tackles. You saw a few today. Will Hughes, you know, going in, Rashford getting, you know, studied, and referees, no yellow cards. And the early yellow card against Casemiro, I mean, ridiculous, just targeting. Matt's crying in the chat. How's it going, Matt? Not much more to say than that, really, is there? Guy is too stubborn to change a plan that clearly isn't working. You say he's too stubborn to change a plan that isn't working. I think he's trying all different plans right now, and he's trying. You've seen with Annabel Medjugorje starting against Burnley, you know, and taking him out. I've got to be honest, I don't understand why Medjugorje wasn't in the starting lineup today. He had an excellent performance against Burnley, decent performance in midweek against Crystal Palace, and then takes him out for this game. I mean, is he resting him because, you know, because it's been a heavy workload on him? Bizarre. He's exceptional when it comes to the press, getting the ball up and winning the ball up high, you know, in our opponent's half. And today we didn't really see that. You know, it wasn't good enough from our forward line. You didn't see the pressing as much from Rashford, and Rashford's a whole conversation. I mean, Marcus Rashford, where's he gone? Where is Marcus Rashford from last season gone? What has happened to him? It just looks like the boy doesn't want to play anymore, and it's frustrating to watch. He just runs down avenues, runs down dead ends. Instead of trying to cut the ball early or trying to hold onto the ball and wait for overlapping runs, he's just trying to force it, trying to brute force it, and it's frustrating to watch. It really is. And when you see Garnacho come on and look lively and look exciting and beat his man, and you know, a few times get the ball across the box toward the end of the game, you're just looking at Rashford and you're thinking, what is happening there? Jack Meoff says, Meoff, most of the refusal within the fan base to hold the manager just slightest bit accountable. Just admit he got it wrong and move on. Excuse it. Well, we're getting deleting comments there. Just admitted he got it wrong and move on. Excuses are getting silly. You look at today's game, and you know the manager set the players up in a situation where it allowed us to have 80% possession. It allowed us to have 19 shots. We had an expected goals of around about 7.2. 7.2. That would have been beautiful. That, imagine if we had 7.2, 1.6. The expected goals of 1.69, and so we should be scoring goals. It's just a situation where in the final third we are toothless, and it's something that we've seen time after time. You know, that we can't seem to put the ball into the back of the net. You know, we're looking for penalties. We're looking for free kicks. Bruno, unfortunately, you know, he's having a bit of a dry spell at the moment. Beautiful goal, don't get me wrong, against Burnley. But those assists, they just aren't there from Bruno. I'm not seeing him, you know, play those balls into Haaland quick enough or in behind into Rashford. And we're in a situation where we're trying to force things that aren't there right now, and it's not happening. Jack says, quite concerning that he's getting booed at Old Trafford, because that isn't something to take lightly. I think he's just booing the performances, really, and you know, at the end of the game, I was there. You know, I could hear the boos, and you know, I'm never partaking in boos myself. I don't understand what's the point in booing your players, booing your fans. You know, your supporters. At the end of the day, you know, the managers know what's going on. They know the problems. They know the issues that's happening on the field. You know, is it a work rate thing? I looked at today, and I don't think it is a work rate thing. You know, you look. The problem I saw watching that game was the lack of overlapping runs for the fullbacks, and I'm not a big fan of Pellistri. You know, I know there's a lot of Manchester United fans who love Pellistri. I don't think that kid offers anything other than just running down the line. You know, people talk about Anthony, but at least Anthony provides numbers. He provides assists. He provides the odd goal. You know, whereas Pellistri, he looks great. But he fools people into believing that he's doing more than you know he is. And there's no end product. There's nothing there from the kid. And he's frustrating to watch. I'd much rather see Mason Mount on the right-hand side with Hannibal Medjugorje brought into the middle. And then, you know, again, that you've got that more option of pressing. You look at Amrabat getting fooled by Ayew at almost every turn, every moment. Ayew, whenever he went close to Amrabat, he's getting any little bit of contact and he's going down, and the referee was quick to give it. He was excited to give it. You could see the referee today. He was enjoying the Old Trafford crowd against him. Spencer, I was going Spencer, and I see it. Palace weren't even that good today, and United were worse. See, I disagree. I don't think we were bad today. That's the thing. I don't think we were bad. The result was bad. The performance we dominated the ball. You know, we had 78% possession, 79% possession, something like that. Maybe even 80% possession. We were dominant in containing the ball, in holding the ball, in creating. I mean, not even creating chances, creating movement into the final third. Like, we got the ball into the final third, and then from there we have no idea what's going on. There's no runners from midfield, and it's frustrating to see that there's no partnerships, there's no link-ups going on the football field. You know, boys, you tell me, where do you see a partnership on the football field for Manchester United? Do you see it between Rashford and Højlund? I don't see it. Do you see it between Bruno and Højlund? I don't see it. Rashford and Bruno, Mason Mount and Bruno, Mason Mount and Rashford, Mason Mount, and these players, they look like they don't play together. They look like they play. It's the first time they've been dropped in together on a football field, and they have no idea what each other wants from each other. You know, you very rarely do you see the 1-2s, the passing moves. You don't see little balls over the top. How many times did you see the ball being given to Højlund to his feet inside the area for him to be able to do something with it? Maybe once or twice, and even then, he needs it 5, 6, 7 times. We're not getting enough just goal mouth action, and until we start getting the ball into the box and into players' feet, we're going to continue to struggle, or we're going to hope for speculative, 18, 20-yard shots. Okay, maybe we could be looking to whip the ball in a little bit early and hope that Rashford or Højlund. See, this is the thing that frustrates me. And again, this is your point to Ten Hag. I think that off the right-hand side, you put Mason Mount on the right, you swing the ball into the box, you have Rashford and Højlund. Højlund on the penalty spot, and then just behind Rashford. And those are options there. Rashford's not. We saw last year scoring a couple of goals aerially, looked fantastic in the air in phases last year. Marcus Rashford. You look at Højlund, you look at his career so far, an exceptional player in the air. Let's get some balls into the box. You never see, everything seems to be across the ground in the hope that, it'll land at a player's feet and it'll get through 5 men. You saw that with Palestrina, you saw that with Lindelof. Get the ball out early. I hate to say it, but you look at Liverpool, you look at getting that ball, Trent Alexander-Arnold about 25 yards out, whipping that ball into the box. It's a beautiful ball that can be had, and Lindelof can do that. There's no reason why he can't, unless he's being told by the manager not to. Also, I have a feeling that our players, they like to hold possession because they don't want to do the tracking back. They don't want to do the running when they do lose the ball. So they don't take the chances. They don't take the risks. And it's frustrating to see, because it's one of those situations where you need to load the ball into the box at times, especially when you're not creating chances. Put it this way, you don't even need to load the ball into the box every time. You just need to cause a little bit of confusion with the defences. So sometimes they expect you to be ball at feet. Sometimes they expect the ball aerially. Sometimes they expect the driving runs from midfield. At the moment, we just seem so pedestrian. We seem so boring. So there's no kind of insightful play getting into the final third. How many times do you see the players, take a shot inside the box? It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening enough anyway. Let me see what you boys have got to say. Spencer says, I think Rashford needs dropping as a wake-up call. I'd agree with that. I'd happily drop Marcus Rashford. I think when you consider his form this season, he scored 1 goal, I believe. No assists. His link-up play is non-existent with Højlund. Bruno and Rashford, they don't seem to have built any kind of relationships there. They've been playing together now for 24 months, even way longer than that, in fact. And there just doesn't seem to be a relationship there. Rashford, he looks disinterested. He doesn't look like he wants to play the game anymore. Maybe and a lot of people have said he's got his contract now, and he's not putting in the shift and putting in the effort. Maybe he just needs dropping. You saw midweek, we looked fantastic, we looked dominant, but we did get the goals. That was the difference. I don't remember a spell today that the ball across being switched enough. It wasn't good enough. It's frustrating to see. Hannibal, Garnacho were unlucky not to start. I agree, especially after the midweek performance, especially Hannibal. You know, that performance against Burnley, you know, the amount of running he did, the amount of work rate that he put in, you know, winning the ball high up in the final third, something that you would have expected today, especially with Crystal Palace looking to sit deep and defend. I can't believe we've come away from that game and lost that game 1-0. The chances that we had there, I don't really remember Onana making a save. Or maybe that one save against Will Hughes in the second half, which, you know, he fumbles, he palms it, and you know what, I miss David De Gea's, you know, safe hands. I remember those days where De Gea would just like hold the ball in front of him, you know, and okay, yeah, we've got an Onana and his footwork's fantastic and stuff, but you know, his handwork needs a little bit of improving. And you can say that, you know, we've had goalkeepers come in like Van der Sar, like David De Gea, you know, with a little bit of a rocky start, and then slowly build themselves into a career at Manchester United. And hopefully that's the case with Onana. But at the moment, every time we're getting a shot against us, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. You know, and that's always a bad sign, your goalkeeper, when you feel a little bit nervous. That's something I never felt with David De Gea. Spencer says, and it seems when Mount and Bruno are in the same team, it's just not working. I think too, we should play an actual defender at left back, so Amrabat can play next to Casemiro. Who do we play at left back though, Spencer? You know, who goes there? That's the issue. Amrabat, I feel like he's decent in that inverted left back spot. I feel like he's okay there for now. I don't feel like, I look at that game today, and I don't look at that game and feel like Palace peppered the goals. You know, there wasn't loads of chances. I felt like we controlled and dominated that game. Our issue was just not being able to score. Something that we've struggled with now for a couple of years. Just in the final third, not having that goal scorer. And you could maybe lay a little blame at Højlund. And I'd like to look and say, yeah, it's Højlund's fault. Well, I wouldn't like to say Højlund's fault, but I'd like to look and go, you know what? Okay, we can identify Højlund's not finishing his chances. He's not getting any chances, not being given the chances. We're great at getting to the final third, but once we get to the final third, it all peters out. It all fizzles out into nothing. Rashford runs into his man, or just runs into a dead end essentially, and plays the wrong ball. You know, there's no kind of incisive passing in the final third, and there's no runs from midfielders. I want to see more runs from Bruno. I want to see more runs from Mason Mount driving into the midfield. I want to see more runs from Casemiro now that he's got Amrabat there, you know, being able to sit a little bit deeper. Also, you look at the centre-backs. You need your centre-backs to be involved, you know, getting into the box for sometimes just to create a little bit of, you know, havoc, a little bit of disruption. Just have Casemiro sit a little bit deeper. Have Varane just run in, or have Lindelof run in. You know, which creates a little bit of disharmony with the defence, with the opposition defences, not being able to trap the man and then pass the ball off. You see that with all the top defenders. You saw that in the past with players like Sergio Ramos. You see it with John Stones for Man City. It's not a difficult thing for a centre back to do when almost all our players are being marked man to man. Right now, we're struggling to create those chances into the final third. You know, you look at Sam Johnson, he made maybe 2-3 saves today. You know, we had 4 shots on target against Crystal Palace at home, even though we had 77% possession. We have 77% possession and only 4 shots on target. It says it all. I don't believe that Palace were the better team today. I'm on the drive home, I'm listening to Talk Sport, listening to Gabby Agbonlahor. You know, that man hurts, kills, murders my brain cells. He's saying that Palace were dominant, they had load, and I'm thinking, did he watch the game? He's just trolling. Absolutely abysmal set of commentary there from the TalkSport boys. I Want Goal says, don't think Bruno Cassie Mount midfield works well. We lose with that setup. We badly need better possession. I disagree. You know, we've got the possession. You see the stats, the 77% possession. We had 650 passes today. We controlled the ball. You know, we had 88% plus passing accuracy. We were dominant in control. You know, it wasn't a bad performance in regard to, you know, controlling the ball and controlling the play. Our issue is, you know, breaking into that final third, causing a little bit of disruption, causing some issues, causing some problems, causing a little bit of bit of disharmony in our opposition's defence. Something that we seem to just struggle at the moment. We've not got goal scorers in the team. Rashford's, missing an overlapping runner in Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw swinging those balls into the box, we're desperately lacking, and we're stuck in a situation where we can't seem to take shots. There is no opportunities, and whenever we're getting the opportunities, we're not putting them away. Iron Goal says, shitty 1-2s and no tempo. That's what I mean. We hold it well, but look impotent. Yeah, I can agree with that. Iron Goals, agree with 100%. Little soft 1-2s, not switching the play quick enough, not moving the ball quick enough. All very pedestrian. The tempos. And you look at Erik Ten Hag's teams, you look at his team at Ajax, and his teams have always been high tempo, quick passing, quick moving. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe it's a hangover from last season playing so many games. And you've seen that with last season. You look at Liverpool after such a great season, the season prior to 2022-23 for Liverpool, and they played so many cup competitions, really pushed Man City right to the final day, got beat in the Champions League final, all that. And then the season after absolutely collapsed just because of the amount of workload that they had the season prior. Maybe that's the situation that we're having right now. Maybe last season's workload is just catching up to us this season. The amount of games that we played, the work rate we put in with the World Cup. Bruno playing World Cup games, Dalot playing World Cup games, Casemiro playing, Varane. Almost all our players going fairly deep into the World Cup, and it's a situation where these players are looking leggy. They're looking like they've not got much to give, and you don't want to look at that and say, okay, that's the reason why. But unfortunately, you've seen with our injuries. You've seen, look at Lisandro Martinez, potentially out now for 2-3 months. You got Mason Mount getting hamstring injuries, Luke Shaw injuries. Kobe. I mean, Kobe, to be fair, he wasn't involved in the internationals, so there's no real excuse for that one. But it's just a situation where our players are looking leggy, especially against oppositions who haven't had the same kind of workload over the last 12 months. Maybe that could be part of the reason. Jack says, we lack a style of play, patterns, all phases of play. It's no surprise other teams got new managers in and already look better than us. A lot of our issues will go back into last season. I mean, you look at last season and Ten Hag coming into the team, and we look like a solid team, and we look like we had phases of play, and we looked a good, well put together team. And usually what happens in a second season is players, there is that little bit of fatigue, and managers and coaches, they need to kind of like freshen up and bring in some new ideas and new players. In regard to what Ten Hag does, I mean, I trust Ten Hag. You see him as a coach. He knows what he's doing. You've seen that with Ajax. You've seen that with Go Ahead Eagles. You've seen that with Utrecht. You've seen that with Bayern's second team. Right now, he's in a phase where things are just not seem to click for him right now. He switched his style of play. He's tried to play a more high press transitional game, and that doesn't seem to be working for him right now. You look and you think last season we tried to counter a little bit more. We didn't play as much as much as a high press as we are now. Again, this is something that's frustrating me. Why he took Hannibal Mejbri out of the team, because you take Hannibal Mejbri out of the team, you take out the legs that got us the result against Burnley. You look at this team and Pellistri. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe he offers enough. I don't believe he offers enough in the final third. I don't believe he's a player that is ever going to offer enough. I think he's just one of those players that, like a Adama Traore or like a Lance St. Maximin, even a Dan James. They've done those players that they're not lucky with the numbers. They're not able to put in those kind of numbers. We're missing. We are, as much as people won't like to admit, right now we are missing Anthony, as an option, as someone to deliver the ball into the box, as someone to, potentially create those chances and offer those looks into the final third. Rashford, collapsing isn't helpful. His numbers were massive last season, and right now he's just looking lost without Luke Shaw, without an overlapping fullback, and we're in a situation where Højlund's not getting the service. Bruno doesn't seem to be at it like he has been over the last 12, 18, 24 months. So right now, Ten Hag's, he's got a lot of work cut out for him. He's essentially, I mean, I'd like to say it's getting the lads running, it's getting the lads working. I'm as perplexed as I'm sure he must be. Jack says, we lack style of play, patterns in all phases of play. It's no surprise teams. I've read that one already. I Will Go said, Rashford attitude stinks, but Erik Ten Hag won't drop the diva. I think, I'd be in the same situation with Rashford, and I'm sure you would be as a manager. I look at Rashford, and I want to keep him in the team. I want him to perform. I want him to, and you probably hear him in the dressing room. You probably see him on the training ground, score some nice goals, look dangerous. And then when it comes to the actual game time, match time, and he's just not turning it on. He keeps driving at his men. He's severely lacking Luke Shaw on that overlapping runs. And what's not helping him there's no midfielder making those overlapping runs and coming across either. You're not seeing Bruno go out wide and create an offering which also kind of diverts the two men, because what you see is he goes up against the fullback, and then the centre-back joins, and then he's up against two men, and then the deep-lying defensive midfielder comes in. So he's up against three players, essentially. It's difficult. He's not got Amrabat making that overlapping run like Luke Shaw does, and he's not got Bruno or Mason Mount making those overlapping runs to stretch and open the play and open the defence. What he could be doing is passing the ball a little bit quicker, and you've seen with our tempo, it's horrendous. It's terribly slow. It's not good enough, and that can solve things. But the reason why I feel like our tempo is slow, I think it's a problem where the players don't want to lose back, because they don't want to lose the ball by having such a quick tempo, because they don't want to track back. We've got players who are lazy, who are work shy. Rashford, unfortunately, you look at his pressing, numbers. There was stats came out today. I think he's 5th, 6th in pressing numbers. He's poor, really. How Ten Hag deals with that, he's got to start dropping players. He's getting rough at the moment. You've seen 4 losses in the last 7 Premier League games. Things need to change, and if the team isn't going to change, then unfortunately, at some point the manager's going to have to change. And I don't want to be in a situation where we're changing our managers and we keep changing our managers, because who do you bring in? Who do you bring in that's going to solve this crisis? You see De Zerbi today getting battered 6-1 by Aston Villa and collapsing ever since he beat us at Old Trafford. It's tough. Jackson says we lack a finish as well. That's one of our issues. That's what I've been saying, Jackson. I feel like we've not got finishers, and not only we've not got finishers, we've not got players driving the ball into those finishers, because the midfielders, you watch for it, boys. The midfielders, they don't want to play those risky balls. Casemiro, Mount, Bruno Fernandes, even the fullbacks, they don't want to play those risky balls, because they don't have to track back and they don't have to run back. It's frustrating. They work shy, a lot of these players on this football field. It's depressing to watch at times. How many times you see Delo, instead of trying to feed the ball or go outside and whip a ball in, he passes it back to Varane. And then Varane goes to Lindelof. Lindelof comes back to Varane. Varane goes back to Delo. And it's not quick enough now. I can understand, recycle the possession, stretch the play, or move the defence, move your opposition. I get that. I understand, I get it. Now, that's great if you're doing it quickly and you're moving the ball fast, which causes players, which stretches your opponents, stretches the midfield, stretches the defences, which then you find spaces to then feed the balls into. What if you're doing it pedestrian and you're doing it slow and you're doing it your opposition almost like meanders, jogs back into position. So it's pointless. It's possession just for possession's sake, and it's something that we're seeing over and over again. This is something it's clear and obvious for all of us to see. how Ten Hag goes about rectifying it, how he gets that tempo up. I've spotted something. I think one of our big issues is the pre-match. Our pre-match warm-ups is so slow, so weak. You know, I sit there at Old Trafford and I'm sat in the South Stand and I watch and I look at our passing. It's like we don't take the pre-match warm-up seriously. That's something that I never saw under Sir Alex Ferguson. All those years watching. And it was always noticeable. Whenever pre-match, the players were at it. They were quick. They were fast. The passes were sharp. You know, powerful into players. You know, players controlling the ball, moving. Just looking like high tempo, high energy. Then that would reflect in the game that was to come. Today and the last couple of weeks against Brighton, I did a video. I posted. If you watch my match day vlog on Brighton, at Ash Meppers. Also, boys, if you're in the stream, by the way, don't forget to like. It helps with the algorithm. So make sure you're liking the video and you're subscribing if you've not already. It goes a long way. So we appreciate over here at mufcMPB. Make sure you follow on Twitter as well at mufcMPB. You follow me at Ash Meppers and Anton as well, at Anton Brooks and Anil Kandola, our other presenters. But you'll see him in my matchday vlog against Brighton. I actually point it out. I go, this warm-up, it's looking like we're going to lose today because this isn't any kind of a warm-up. These players, they're not taking the game seriously. And you see it, and Ten Hag doesn't take the warm-ups. So I don't know if he's not spotted this. I don't know if someone's told him. I don't know if his kind of coaching team needs to have a word with him and needs to speak to him and say, Eric, you know, just go and watch the pre-match warm-ups. Go see the boys. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's in the dressing room working out his tactic board, working out, you know, what his game plan for the day, what's going on. But I know that he's not taking the pre-match training, and I think that is an area that could be looked at because it's just been weak, it's been poor, it's been slow, and then that reflects in the game, and potentially something that you can see when you do go to the game. And unfortunately, you don't get to see it on TV, but that's something that I've noticed that needs kind of fixing and needs kind of working at. I Want Goal says Pellistri is able to beat a man down outside, unlike Anthony. Yeah, but then he does what? Then he does nothing with it. I want goals. You know, he's got zero assists, 0 goals in the last, 50, 60 games. You know, I'm not buying it. Anthony at least, he draws in a man. He scores a goal. He gets assists. It's something that Pellistri's just not done yet, and he's not able to do. And also, I believe that you look defensively. I think defensively, Anthony's much better than Pellistri. So there's that. Anthony is peg-legged player as both decision making. Again, the numbers just aren't there. It's all well and good. Pellistri can beat a man, but what's at the end? There's no end product. I agree. There's no end products. He's Adama Traore. If you've ever watched Adama Traore, looks fantastic on the ball. Looks fantastic going into the final third. Nothing else happens. I haven't heard anything about Ahmad in weeks. Ahmad apparently will be back after the international break. Ahmad's a player that he's not going to offer you many assists. You saw that at Sunderland. I think he got 4 or 5 assists at Sunderland, but he will get goals. I want to say he got 14 goals in all competitions for Sunderland last season. So he is a goal scorer, and that's what we're desperate for right now. We're desperate for players that can, put the ball in the back of the net. You look at Mason Mount today. He had that near post header. Oh, I thought it was in. It was a fantastic little move to get to the near post and then just put too much onto it. But we're not creating enough chances, and that is the problem we've got right now is just not enough chances. Pellistri is provided before only player to provide an assist for Weghorst. I think he's only got 1 assist in his United career. I think that's all he's got. You look at him, his career at Deportivo Alavés as well. In his entirety of his career in European football, I think it's 50-odd plus appearances that he's made. He's got 1 assist. Just not good enough. Almost won a pen against Spurs too, and you won't be saying no end products. I mean, the fact is, we are saying he's no end product because he's got no end products. That's the truth of the matter. That is what it is. There's no doubt in it. You compare him to Garnacho. There's no comparison to have there. There really isn't. You compare it to Rashford. I mean, Rashford's had a poor season this season. But you look at someone like Pellistri, who's same for Uruguay. This isn't me saying it, just for Manchester United. Look at Uruguay. Uruguay is exactly the same thing. He doesn't get the numbers. So for me, I'd rather put Bruno out there. I'd rather put Mason Mount out there. I'd rather put Hannibal Mejbri out there, who's already scored a goal this season, albeit in the defeat against Brighton. But he's players that actually contribute into the final third. Don't just look fancy on the ball and then actually offer nothing in the final third. It's frustrating to see. Lazy players who don't want to track back. It's all reflection of the manager failing to motivate the team or implement his style in a manner that makes players want to work for him. It's hard to disagree with that, Jack. It really is. The questions need to be asked by the journalists of Ten Hag. Can you not motivate your players? Why are these players not working for you? Why are they not creating the chances? You've spent hundreds of millions now. You've got quality forwards there in Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes. Marcus Rashford. Where is the issue? Where is the issue that's causing you to not be able to get the best out of your players? It's worrying. It really is. I hope and I believe that Ten Hag will have the answers, and we'll see that in the next couple of weeks. But we was looking at a nice run of games coming into the next couple of weeks before the international break, and already we've started off with a terrible loss against Crystal Palace, which we were dominant in a game which we should have won. One set piece again, a needless free kick being given away by Amrabat, and just poor in the final third. No service to Højlund. I could say Højlund's first touch at the moment is probably making midfielders and the wide players a little bit nervous, but you're looking and you're thinking he's not getting enough chances, he's not getting enough service, the ball's not being delivered into the box to him, and he needs more. He had one chance aerially at the near post, headers it straight toward Sam Johnston, makes a decent save. Rashford needs to keep whipping those balls in over and over and over again. Big Ron, how's it going? Good evening, mate. Hope you're doing well this beautiful Saturday evening. Unfortunately, we've not had the result that we'd wanted. Performance was kind of semi acceptable, but it's that final third, that ability to penetrate into the final third, the finishing that we've just not got. Simon Cushion says drop Rashford, drop Fernandes. You saw with us dropping Rashford and Fernandes midweek. Okay, it was a weakened Crystal Palace team, but we looked strong. We created chances. Garnacho looked fantastic off the left, and I'd be okay with Garnacho coming. Put it this way: put Rashford on the right hand side. If he's not going to create off the left, bring Garnacho in. Put Rashford on the right-hand side. Rashford's got a decent right foot. He can deliver the ball into the box. He's got the low with the overlapping runs that he's lacking off the left-hand side with not having Luke Shaw in the team. So put him on the right-hand side. Give him an option out there. Because no offence to Pellistri, again, he's not going to get the same numbers that Marcus is going to get. That would never happen. So, at least there with Marcus, you're going to get potentially the odd goal or assist from the right-hand side. You saw him being shifted over there toward the end of the game. There was a few chances created down that right-hand side, but just not enough from Delo, not enough from midfield runners, really. Big Ron says, Hannibal, 2 starts, 2 games, 2 wins, drop him and we lose. You know what, Big Ron? That's what I said. I can't believe you look at the team that I mentioned today. I wanted to play Hannibal off the right. Did I want to play Hannibal off the right? No, I didn't. I wanted to play Casemiro deep, Hannibal, Bruno, and then Mason Mount on the right-hand side. I don't understand what Ten Hag's thinking. I really, he's trying to force Pellistri into this team, and I'm not seeing anything from him. I'm not seeing anything from that right-hand side that's causing any kind of problems and any kind of issues or delivering any kind of service into Højlund. So for me, that's a problem. The same can be said with Marcus Rashford. It's not good enough. How's it going, Zoe? Congratulations on your win today, but let's not talk about you boys, but welcome in. We beat Palace a few days ago, playing proper football, scoring 3. What was that today? It was a bad performance. It was toothless. It lacked inspiration. It lacked any kind of runs from midfield. Our fullbacks weren't offering any kind of overlaps. There was nothing coming from the centre-backs in regard to like penetrative runs, which then causes a little bit of disruption in the midfield. There's not something that I've spoken about earlier, and I stand by this, is where's the partnerships on the field? Where's this partnerships, boys? Where do you see the link-up, the relationships, the friendships on the football field? Where do you see it? You see with Arsenal, with the partnerships with Martinelli and Ødegaard and Saka and Ketia even. You see these kind of relationships that get built. You see it at Man City. You see it at Liverpool. Manchester United, our players, they look like they don't know each other. You look at Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes. There's no relationship being built there. You'd expect those two to be able to interlink and interchange and kind of create one-twos and kind of pass and moves with exploitive runs in toward the box, which creates space for the other attackers. Draws centre-backs away from strikers, and then create space for the ball to be fed to them, to be fed to Rashford, to be fed to Højlund. You're not seeing the relationship between Højlund and Rashford. Like, at any point did you see any 1-2s between Højlund and Rashford today? Nothing there. No kind of ball fed from Rashford into Højlund in the box. You're not seeing it. The overlapping runs from Dalot and Pellistri, you're not seeing that kind of link up there. It feels all very disjointed. These players are all playing for themselves. They're not playing in a team unit. There is kind of no harmony at the moment. And it's frustrating to watch because everyone points to, there's no structure. We don't see any kind of like phases of play. There's no tactics being used on the football field, which is creating space in the final third. Because everyone's almost, what happens is a player gets the ball and it stays with A, and then he's thinking about B, and that's it. There's no C, D, or E. When a player gets the ball in the final third, he should have three thoughts in his mind, 3 options in his mind, and he should have 3 runs, 3 movements. If that's Mason Mount on the ball, he should see a movement from Rashford or a movement from Bruno or a movement from Højlund. He should have one of those 3 like locked in with the idea to pass to one of them, and then they should off the back of that have potentially 2 or 3 movements themselves, or with players running off the back of them then receiving the ball. At the moment, a player receives the ball, it's like, right, what do we do next? I've got the ball. Let me run at my man. And that's what's happening. It feels like this team is poorly coached, unfortunately, and it's you're looking at Ten Hag and thinking, do you know what you're doing? You're not getting your message across to these players. Are you giving them too much freedom? Have you lost the dressing room? Have you essentially, because this is, if I was to analyse and look at it and kind of diagnose the issue, I would look at it and go, Ten Hag's allowing these players too much power. He's allowing these players to play creatively on their own. They're not listening to the structures that he set up for them, because we're not seeing the structures. We're not seeing them keep playing and keep trying the same structures over and over again. So as he kind of like almost like relented and gone, okay, you boys are good footballers. You know what you're doing. Get into the final third. Once you get on the ball, look for your man. Create options for each other, and try and exploit the space. That's what it feels like it's happening. It feels like there's almost no construction being had in the final third, and it's frustrating to watch. And I don't understand why we're at this situation where last season it looked like we had phases of play and it looked like we had construction in our attacking play. That just doesn't seem to be the case at the moment, and it's worrying. It really is. Simon said Lindelof is so weak. Lindelof has been weak for years. What do we do about it? We stuck with him. I wanted to play Johnny Evans today. I don't know if you saw my team, the team that I had today. Let me go and have a look at my Twitter for a moment. This is the team that I wanted to see us play with today. I wanted to go with this. Johnny Evans, Mejbri, Mount off the right, Højlund, Rashford, Amrabat. Basically, the only difference is bringing Evans for Lindelof. I think the thing I like about Evans is, at set pieces, Evans is dangerous. At set pieces, Evans wants to win the ball. Lindelof is scared to death at set pieces. He's scared to get him clattered, to get him pushed, to be getting moved. To kind of get into kind of any confrontation with an opposition player. Varane, I feel like he's also managing. Hopefully not looking to like die. Because Varane's just missed the glass in here, unfortunately. Fantastic as he is, and as solid as he is for us. I don't want him to be throwing himself into aerial challenges. Whereas Johnny Evans is a man that I would trust going into an aerial challenge. Now we start Lindelof. Okay, Lindelof's possession and his passing on the ball, his progression of the ball's been horrendous over the last 10, 15 games, and it continues to be. I don't know why Ten Hag continues to pick him, but that's something that we've got to look at Ten Hag for. Why is he getting picked? Mejbri, our best runner of the past 3 or 4 games, ran more than any player's ever ran for Erik Ten Hag under his stewardship. And then he's dropped for this game. Bizarre, really bizarre. I think we controlled the midfield today. We did, but we just didn't create enough chances. You got Mason Mount off the right hand side. He's able to deliver the ball off the right hand side, whip the ball into the back post. If Højlund's on the penalty spot and you got Rashford just in behind, Mason Mount whipping the ball in with overlapping runs of Delot and Fernandes. I like it. I like the idea of that. Okay, maybe Erik Ten Hag saw something that we didn't see, and I hate to kind of, because what do I know? I've not got the qualifications that Erik Ten Hag's got. I've got no experience in regard to coaching a football team the way he does it professionally in the Premier League, in the Champions League, all that. So I'm just sat here talking nonsense essentially. But listen, I don't have to be a chef to know how a steak tastes if it's cooked. Medium well, medium rare, medium rare. I know what a steak. I know how a steak is served. I know how it tastes. I know how it's been cooked. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to be a chef myself to be able to understand what I'm looking at. And what I'm looking at on the football field is disharmony. What I'm looking at for Manchester United is essentially a football team that is disjointed, as kind of no creative ambition in the final third, and it's poor, it's weak, it's poor. And where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I'm not too sure. We've got Galatasaray on Tuesday. It's been our worst start to a league in 34 years. We've lost our first 4 games in 7 in the Premier League this season. The identity and the play style's not there. Beaten by Palace, created little chances again. Manchester United right now, we're looking like a bit of a mess. Singh says, I think injuries are taking the toll on Manchester United squad. That plays a part. But Singh, look at that first 11. That's a first 11 that should be beating Crystal Palace. Let's be honest. You've got Pelistri, international, Rashford, Højlund, Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount. That's a quality team. That is a team that should be going out there and winning that game 2-3-0. Scotty says playing Pelistri so the Anthony return will be welcomed. Yeah, I'm excited for Anthony coming back. I think we've come to appreciate, or at least the fans who didn't appreciate Anthony before will come to appreciate his impact on the team. If there is no relationship or link-ups, that's on the manager, says Jack Meoff. I agree. Now, what you could argue and what you could say is that maybe these relationships he's not worked on because this team isn't the team that he planned to be his dominant squad, his dominant team. But you look at it and it's still a very strong team. I mean, you look at the players that are missing. Only really the fullbacks. We're only missing what? Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, and a centre-back in Lisandro Martinez. That midfield's one of our, if not our strongest midfield. Casemiro, Bruno and Mason Mount. With Rashford and Højlund. That's still a very solid team. So these link-ups, these relationships, maybe he needs to freshen up the coaching staff. I'm not too sure what's going on over there at Carrington, but it's worrying. 4 losses in first 7 Premier League games. Yeah, he's trying to implement a new style and kind of get his team used to this new transitional play. But it's the final third which worries me. There's no kind of link up. There's no kind of relationships being built in the final third. If you play Pelistri on the right team and don't selfishness on and off the ball runs, it will get us goals and assists. He'll deliver that if the team is right. We've never seen him deliver. That doesn't exist. As much as Pelistri looks like a quality player, What you're talking about there is, just fairy dust. We've never seen that. It doesn't exist. We've never seen a Pellistri produce. Unfortunately, I love the kid. I think he looks like a spectacular player. He doesn't produce numbers. He's Adama Traore. He's that kind of a player who he kind of he fails. He what's the word I'm looking for, or the phrase I'm looking for? He fools you into believing that he's better than he actually is. Again, 1 goal, 1 assist, I think, and 1 goal in about 50 odd appearances in Europe, including his spell at Deportivo Alaves. There's a reason why he was being dropped by his manager over there. The team's style of play has changed so much since Dave left. Do we miss him? Do we miss David De Gea? We miss his shot-stopping ability, yeah, but you look at today, I don't put it down to the lack of David De Gea today. I don't see that as the issue. Really worried about Casemiro, Bruno and Rashford. Casemiro is either giving us a 10s or minus 10s. I feel like we desperately need to get Amrabat into the midfield. Just give him a little bit more support, and we need fullbacks. We need overlapping fullbacks. We've not got that right now. We're not. Rashford it looks stranded. He looks alone on a desert island, but all by himself with no support. You see him on the left hand side. He's getting double teamed because there's no overlapping run. This fullback, he marks Rashford, then the centre back comes over, and even the deep defensive midfielder comes over, and he's almost 3-on-1 because he's getting no overlapping runs. There's no Mason Mount going round the corner. There's no Bruno going round. There's no Luke Shaw, stretching the play. There's no Reggie on there, and it's frustrating. It really is. But Rashford in himself should be looking to pass the ball into Højlund, allow Højlund to hold up the ball and make runs inside, make those arcing runs inside and overlapping. It's not happening. Why is it not happening? Is he not listening to the coach? Is the coach not giving him the instructions? We're a mess right now. It's worrying. 20 Legend says then Rashford doesn't seem like he can get in form this season and should maybe be benched soon because this can't continue. I agree. I think benching Rashford isn't a bad thing. Garnacho has proven and shown whenever he's coming to the team, he's looked dangerous. And Rashford's great off the bench anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with that. We need an offensive coach. We ain't going to beat Galatasaray. It's going to be an interesting game. We'll beat Galatasaray. I've all faced another game. I'll be going to that game on Tuesday. And I go to all the games, don't I? So tough, innit, boys? It's tough. We had to win that game today. We had to win that game. I don't know how we don't win that game. You need some kind of synergy. We need synergy. I agree, Zoe. It's tough. 20 Legend says, does Erik Ten Hag have the competent coaching staff around him to get these players to play proper football? Because he doesn't like it with how this team is playing. If that's the case, Ten Hag needs to come out and kind of speak about it. We're almost in. I want to be reserved and say that Ten Hag's got loads of time. Ten Hag loses the next 2-3 Premier League games. There's a potential that he gets sacked. I would not put it past the board, past John Murtough and Richard Arnold, who are new in their role, their position, just to go, you know what? We can't continue. This can't continue. So essentially, Ten Hag has to either start coming out and owning the issues on the dressing room, or start dropping players, start shifting players, moving players, getting them motivated, sticking a rocket up their ass. Do you know what I mean? It's not good enough where we're at right now. Excuses, injuries is an excuse. Right now, injuries is a nice excuse to have, but you look at that squad, and that squad should be beating Crystal Palace. That team should be beating Crystal Palace, no doubt. Why is Medjugorje not starting? It's worrying. Boys, if you've not already, please make sure to like the video, subscribe. It would go a long way to helping mufcMPB, in our journey to, Manchester United dominance. And if you like what you're watching today, it'd be much appreciated. Hope you've been enjoying yourselves. Still got plenty of time left. Singh says possession means nothing if the team is unable to score. Well, it means something. It doesn't mean nothing. What you can build off possession. Possession's a building block. Like, I'd rather have, loads of possession than having no possession and no chances. At least then we know we can control the play. We can dictate the midfield. We can own our opponents possessionally. But then we've got to build upon that. We've got to create those incisive runs into the final third. We've got to create those chances. Today we created 4 chances. We had 4 chances today. That was it. Not off the back of 77% possession, off the back of 650 odd passes. To me, when a team has that kind of possession, it says to me that they're frightened to lose the ball in the transition. What Ten Hag's trying to do, what he's trying to force his players, it's confusing to witness at the moment. It feels like we're kind of caught in between 2 play styles. Where we going forward, whether the dominance of possession kind of wins out, or whether this transitional style of feeding the ball into our opponents so that then we can win the ball off them, similar to how De Zerbi plays. What De Zerbi likes to do is go long or give the opponents the ball, and then once they've got the ball in their own final third, then go and press, then activate the press and try and win the ball high up to then create transitional chances. I don't think Ten Hag started that. That's how we started against Wolves. That's how we started against Spurs. You saw, especially in the second half against Spurs, was kept loading the ball to the Spurs defensive, the defensive line, and then activating the press. That's gone. That we've not seen that from the last couple of games. Right now, it seems to be we're going into a possession-based game where we're trying to dominate the midfield and trying to stretch teams. But to do that, we need high tempo. We need quick passes, quick movement. We need runners off the ball. We need movement from our strikers. And there's plenty of times today when I'm watching the back line. I'm sat in the south stand and I'm looking at the back line and I'm seeing Højlund making runs across the back line. Never was that ball delivered over the top. Countless times Varane had the option to deliver the ball over the top, or Casemiro had the ball to deliver it over the top to Højlund. It was never taken. And again, that screams to me like a team that doesn't want to track back, that doesn't want to work. They'd rather have safe possession so that they can kind of like jog around the football field. It smacks of a team that's kind of I wouldn't say lazy, but he's kind of worked too hard. Cabello says, it's not the coaching stuff. I'm tired of coaches being blamed for players who lack the hunger to win. Cabello, you say that, but also you need your coaches to kind of get the best out of you. All the best coaches in the world. Look at Sir Alex Ferguson. Let's go back to Sir Alex. Sir Alex Ferguson got Tom Cleverley, Darren Gibson, Danny Welbeck winning a Premier League title. No other manager does that. And he did that because he got the belief instilled within those players that they were better than they were. He got them working hard. He drove them. Ten Hag's unfortunately not been able to do that at the moment. He's not got that kind of like steel. And it's frustrating because early on, when after the Brighton lost and the Brentford lost last season, him making the players run, it was looking like we'd got our proper manager. It looked like we got a manager that looked to be getting the very best and kind of take no bullshit from any of these players. Now that's just where's that Ten Hag gone? Is he fatigued? Is Ten Hag fatigued himself? Is he so tired with everything that's going on off the field, with Ronaldo, with Greenwood, with the Maguire captaincy, with Anthony issues, with the ownership? Is he fatigued? Is he in a situation where he feels in limbo in himself and he's got no control with Jadon Sancho and Richard Murto and Richard Arnold? Richard Murto? John Murto and Richard Arnold potentially saying, come on, you've got to bring him back in. And what's Sancho doing? Is he sat there on his PS5 playing FIFA, laughing his head off, thinking, well, you need me now, don't you? We do need Jadon Sancho, but that kid doesn't want to turn up. So where's that leave us? That leaves us with Ten Hag kind of grasping at what do we do next. Zoe says, a one-trick pony we're talking about, Zoe. You have to give Pellistri a chance to see the number. We've seen Pellistri chances. He's getting chances. We're not seeing the numbers. Bro can't see potential, or is it numbers and the game isn't played on paper? You look at Saka, you look at Salah, you look at Diaz, you look at the top players, you look at Heung-min Son, they provide numbers. What do you want? Do you want no numbers and just a great performance on the football field? Go look at Adama Traore, go look at Alan Saint-Maximin. Look fantastic. They look great. Go look at Adel Tarap. Go look at El Shawari. These players who look fantastic on the football field but don't provide you the numbers. I'm telling you right now. Pellistri will never be a Manchester United footballer. He will never be a player that scores more than 5 goals a season for Manchester United. It's never going to happen. You know, he's not got that instinct in the final third. I would love him to. I've been watching this game for 30 plus years. Do you know what I mean? I see him for what he is. He's talented going into. People look at Anthony and they say the same things that I'm saying about Anthony, and they go, well, he's got no product and products in the final third. You know, he doesn't provide assists, he doesn't provide goals. He provides more than Pellistri does. I think a lot of the players are struggling to adapt to a new style we play now since Dave's left. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Yeah, indeed, make sure you're liking and subscribing. I appreciate that, lads. To play or manage Big Ron. Big Ron says, United need to go back to basics. If you cannot win matches, at least don't lose them. Complicated matters with strange formations and tactics. You know what, Big Ron? Today, Palace didn't create that many chances. It was one set piece. We were done by a set piece. And we can't seem to, you know, get our set piece routines in order. You know, we struggle set pieces going forward, and we struggle set pieces defensively. We've got no kind of like that man in defence who takes control and dominates and kind of controls the box. I would have hoped that would have been Onana, but we've not seen that. First start United, and you're saying he's got chances. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about this for the rest of the season. I want him to succeed, obviously, but you know, the phrase you thought of when describing Pellistri, a one-trick pony. Potentially, yeah. You have coaching staff in order to teach these players the style the manager wants to play. Can't point everything at just the manager. You have to look at the big picture. But Eric Ten Hag isn't faultless. I agree. 20 legend. I agree. It's the coaching staff. It's Benny McCarthy. It's Steve McLaren. It's Darren Fletcher. You look at Kieran McKenna at Ipswich. You know, he's losing him was probably a big mistake. You know, and you see the fantastic things he's doing for Ipswich and the way they're playing. You know, looking like they're going to get promoted in the first season in the Championship. You know, and we're looking like we're kind of at a loss at where to be right now and where we're going. Mason Mount says there's a lot of things to look at and to work on. I don't think Mason had a bad game today. I felt Mason had a decent game today. Moving forward, our front three should be Garnacho, Højlund and Anthony. I'll be okay with that front three. You know what, George? We keep changing it until it works. You know, keep changing it until we get the work rate from these players. You saw with Rashford today. I was hoping that after being dropped in the midweek, we'd have seen a Marcus Rashford fully at it. We saw it in the first 10-15 minutes, and then after that, Marcus was rolling around on the floor, not tracking back. Poor week. How's it going, Diggy Dot? Nice to see you, man. Welcome in. Congratulations on your win today. 2020 legend says that's it's still not Eric Tan's proper coaching staff. He wants you to bring a few people in, and the Glazers said no. Yep, a few the fitness staff. Paul Merson's had he say as well on Manchester United, he said they need to dominate teams. They're too slow. I think we did dominate today. We dominated. You look at the possession, 77% possession. You know, 19 chances, 650 passes. The problem isn't dominating. The problem is, like he alluded to at the end there, is we're too slow. We've not got the cutting edge in the final third. You know, we've not got the partnerships and the link-up plays in the final third. And we're not creating the chances. Bruno's not making those gut-busting runs into the box anymore. Bruno's looking a little bit shot. I love him. And, you know, we need him to be on top form. We really do. And when he suffers, we suffer. It's frustrating. It's a situation where you don't want to be in. Let's see what else has been going on at mufcMPB. There's us streaming right now live, and Emery Ball turns me on. Really poor from you boys today, though. I see that you say it's really poor. You didn't watch the game, did you, Diggy? I don't think we were poor. I think we just... Let me rephrase it. I don't feel like we had a cutting edge. We had the ball. We dominated possession. We restricted our opponent to very few chances. They had 2 shots on target the entire game. You know, one of them was a goal. Our problem was our cutting edge in the final third. Something we've been suffering now for a while. We definitely dominated. Matter of fact, we over-dominated till we get anywhere near the 18-yard area. Yeah, indeed. Right, boys, have we got anything else that we want to be saying? Because I think that's all that needs to be said on today's result. Anton will be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday with a pre-match build up to the Galatasaray game. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. It's been disheartening having to go over the situation that we're in right now. You know, still waiting for these new owners. You know, Glazers out. Don't let it get to you too much in your weekend, boys. You know, try and enjoy your weekend. You know, go out for a nice walk. Go for a nice walk. Just go for a walk. Stick a you know, a podcast on. Go for a stroll. Get your 6,000 steps in minimum. Do you know what I mean? Always makes you feel better. Go and breathe in this nice, beautiful autumn air. And I will see you boys on Sunday. Make sure, if you've not already, to like and subscribe. That helps the channel. Make sure to be sharing to your friends as well and everybody else. Thank you very much for your participation today. And I'll do a roll call and I will see you boys on Monday. Take care, Zoe, Scatty, Diggy Dot, Cabello, 20 Legend, Spencer Parkhouse. Appreciate you being here, mate. George Devlin. Who else we got? And anybody else who contributed today, make sure you're liking, you're subscribing, you're sharing, you're doing all that kind of good stuff. And I will see you boys on Monday. Tomorrow, you've got your main man, Anton. Make sure to come over, say hello to Anton, and get your opinions on everything about Manchester United. Make sure to follow at mufcMPB on the Twitter. Follow me at AshMeppers on the Twitter as well if you've not already. Take care. I love you. Glory, glory, Man United. Come on, United. Oof, it's been a tough day. We'll get there, boys. We'll get there. United never die.